All right, well, we can go ahead and get started. My name is Bryan Seck, and I am your Director of Workforce Development for the Lincoln Partnership for Economic Development. And you, if you do not want to be here, you are on a webinar to talk about unemployment insurance and how we are working together as a community to reconnect people to careers. So this is where you should be. And I'm going to let Travis Beck introduce himself from the Department of Labor. So thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Brian. Yes, my name is Travis Beck. I work for the Nebraska Department of Labor as a Regional Workforce Development Manager for the Lancaster and Saunders County areas. And I'm in charge of basically reemployment services, going ahead and doing mock interviews, job search assistance, resume assistance, and then doing various collaborative work with other agencies in the city to help people get back to work.
Excellent. So what we're going to do this morning is we promise we're not going to PowerPoint you to death. We're just going to PowerPoint you a little bit. So Travis and I have 6 slides to share with you. It should take about 10 minutes or so. And really after that, we really want to open the floor to questions, to ideas, to just what people are thinking. We will also be able to share this information with you. So if you want to take notes, that's great. So we are recording this webinar and we're also able to share these resources. So please don't feel like this is the last time you have to see it, unless you're Chad Hood from MAPES, who I see is on this call, and for you it costs $20, just so you know. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start this PowerPoint presentation, but please know it's pretty brief and then we'll have a discussion. It's just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. All right, excellent. So this is us, Travis and Bryan, and what we do is we work together on a coalition called Employ LNK. We've been doing this since 2016. It came out of the Prosper Lincoln initiative, and what it is it's an opportunity for all the workforce agencies, some of which you see here, but there are about 25 total, places like the Nebraska Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired and others. We all work together on workforce. So when Speedway Motors, who I see is on this call, when Speedway Motors wants to hire some folks, they can reach out to us and be assured that that information will be shared across our network. We have a listserv of over 900 human service professionals here in Lincoln who help people reconnect to careers. And we also organize the famous and amazing drive-through career fairs that we had in May, we're going to have on Tuesday, that have been copied in 6 states, that were started right here in Nebraska, and the brainchild of a Department of Labor a team member of Travis's. But Travis, do you want to talk just a little bit about the American Job Center Network, and then we'll move on?
Sure. So the American Job Center Network is basically a network of partners who are looking to service clients on all levels. So it's made up of a bunch of different organizations. I can't name them all. I'm sure I'd forget someone. There's so many. But it's really about bringing people together and not only servicing reemployment needs, but also all other facets of client needs, basically building that strong foundation for them to re-enter the workforce, but also dealing with things like financial training and assistance, housing, food, anything that you can think of that are one of the basic needs. So we have the wonderful Andy Holes here with the newly renamed Equus Workforce Solutions here in town. He's our one-stop operator here in the city, but there are American Job Centers throughout the entire state.
Perfect. And so our goal for this slide is really just to show you that we are connected across workforce agencies. So if businesses are hiring, if businesses want to share information, you can contact one of us and be assured that we will share it across our networks to make sure that we're getting to job seekers. So this is what's going on with unemployment in Lancaster County. So since March 21st, we've had about 24,000 claims. Travis is going to talk a little bit about what this looks like, and then we'll get into industries affected. So Travis.
Sure. So what this really is here is this is a snapshot of what's been happening in Lancaster County from basically March, from the start of the pandemic through now. So as you can see at the very first beginning there, that normal week, 2019, 98 initial claims. That's the usual average amount of unemployment insurance claims through any given week in 2019 that we were averaging. You can see the stark contrast here when we had the COVID-19 pandemic sweep through. We saw a spike that was 50 times larger than our normal average. In 1 week alone, just in Lancaster County, mind you, not even statewide, just in Lancaster County, we had almost 5,000 claims, initial unemployment claims filed 2 weeks in a row. And it was just a huge spike. And thankfully, you know, as things have kind of leveled off here in the summertime, we're still 5 to 6 times higher than we would be at this point in time in any other year. But at the Department of Labor and through our partners in the American Job Center Network, we've been pulling together and trying to utilize all the resources we can to try to help those here in the local area. But this is really the drive home message here is just how many Nebraskans in our area were in need immediately. And now that we've kind of served those initial needs, now we want to try to focus on getting them back into the workforce and getting them that next step of assistance. And so here you can see it's a little bit of a breakdown of the unemployment claims we saw by industry. So it's no surprise the accommodation, the hospitality, food service, your retail and trade, and even your healthcare and social assistance were the most heavily impacted. We also saw a lot of manufacturing claims come through as the pandemic swept across not only the nation, but the rest of the globe. And parts and pieces that were being used by the manufacturing industry, those supply chains dried up or stopped. That eventually came to our doorstep and caused quite a bit of furlough, unfortunately, in our area. But as you can see here, it's really those accommodation, those food trade, those retail that saw the biggest jump in unemployment claims. And so one of the things that Bryan and I and the rest of Employ LNK have been working on is identifying these industries and trying to come up with reemployment strategies to help address that so we can get those in our city back to work. And so here we have a bit of a breakdown just for you guys, for your information as far as gender, race, ethnicity, age, just what the breakdown was in our city. We see, pretty equal as far as gender goes. And again, what we're really looking at here is the drive home messages. There wasn't a single person that wasn't impacted by this. It didn't care how old you were. It didn't care if you were a male or female. It didn't care what age you were. The pandemic impacted everyone. And so really what we're looking at is, trying to use this data to develop, tailor specific workforce strategies to help those people return to work as quickly as possible.
Right, thank you, Travis. And the other piece to see here is on the age side, you can really see the largest numbers are in prime working age group, 25 to 54. But also you can see a really large number of people who are 55 plus who are working, who were laid off. And overall, what you're looking at is these are people who are working to supplement their Social Security to make sure that they can stay stable in their homes. So when we're thinking about reemployment strategies, which we're gonna talk about here in a minute, we're not just thinking about young people. We're not just thinking about people in their 30s and 40s. We're thinking about everyone who was working before. How can we get them safely back to work, respecting what's going on with the pandemic, and also helping people to maintain their economic stability. You'll also note here that the bottom orange box is our overall race and ethnicity here in Lincoln. So you can see that Hispanic folks, African American folks, and Asian folks are disproportionately represented in these statistics. This is something that we are seeing nationally, but I wanted to highlight it here that this is also true for Lincoln as well. So what you see here is a pretty typical budget for someone who is working a relatively low wage position. Many of the positions uh, that were eliminated that caused people to file for unemployment were lower wage positions. So this is a real person. This is actually somebody that I know. Many of you know that in a previous life, I served as the homeless outreach specialist for Lincoln Public Schools, and this was a mother that I worked with who I've stayed in contact. So she makes about 1,600 a month. She gets some assistance in the form of food assistance, food stamps, EBT. She also gets assistance with her childcare. But you can see, even with a very modest budget, that she has about $4 left for savings after her expenses. So this is her life. She's a real person. She has 3 kids. So what we're going to show you is just briefly what this income looks like and why it's so important that we help people reconnect to careers. So this was her budget before COVID. She's working. This is her budget now, which is the federal unemployment assistance, which is $600 a week, which is scheduled to end on July 31st, combined with her state unemployment insurance from the state of Nebraska. She's making almost double right now. So she's making about $3,200 a month between those two benefits. So that ends July 31st. There's also a change in policy from the Department of Labor that got announced on Tuesday that we're going to discuss, where she needs to start job searching now as opposed to August 1st. So, however, this is what her budget looks like only on Nebraska unemployment, about half of what she was making before, which is how the unemployment insurance system works in the state of Nebraska, which is 50% of your earnings capped at $400 a week. In her case, that's about $200 a week. So you can see that her budget was $1,600. Now she's at $800. So it's critical that we connect her to careers, to jobs, to make sure that she's financially stable for her family. So if you're thinking to yourself, so what, Bryan and Travis, you're talking about this, you're showing us big numbers. What are you doing about it? So here's what we're doing about it. On July 14th, which is Tuesday, we're having a drive-through career fair at 3 locations from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Tuesday the 14th at Gateway Mall, F Street Church downtown, 13th and F, and Northeast High School. We will have 500 bags of information from 54 hiring employers in our community. These are all employers that are hiring. This is not information. People can simply drive up, take the information, and go. This is critical for our families because many folks might not be able to go back to the careers from where they came. So if we look at food service and accommodation, a lot of those positions will not be open by the end of the month. They may be open in the future, but not by the end of the month. So we have a lot of people who will be reconnecting to careers that they might not be as familiar as they were in their previous job. Think about somebody who used to work in a hotel and maybe now they go into construction, or used to work in a restaurant and now they go into manufacturing. This is a new world. So we're helping people with this information to take it home, put this information on their kitchen counter and really look at it. Now, the big change that happened on Tuesday was that the guidance previously had been that people who were receiving unemployment insurance had to restart job search on August 1st. On Tuesday, that was changed to the week of July 12th. So it's critical that we communicate with people who are receiving unemployment benefits, with going through churches, faith institutions, food banks, you name it, to tell people that this guidance has changed and that they need to start applying for jobs now to maintain their benefits. At the end of the month, July 25th, the federal $600 a week ends. So between the July 12th date and the July 25th date, our job in the EmployLink world is to help people reconnect to careers. Travis, do you want to talk a little bit about how we can serve job seekers? And then we will open it up to questions and discussion.
Sure. So, it's a new post-pandemic world. In-person services aren't happening nearly as frequently, or if they are, they're at a reduced capacity. While not only the Department of Labor, but other state agencies, other nonprofit organizations figure out how best and how we can best serve those who are coming in, but maintain safety. So, a lot of the things that we're looking at is virtual assistance. What can we offer, and how can we offer that virtually? So we can get that information out there and into the hands of those people immediately. We don't have to worry about trying to schedule an appointment several days out when people need help right now. As Bryan touched on, those work search requirements, the governor has decided that with the directive health measures coming along and getting into the later phases, that now is the time to speed that up. And so he made that executive order late last week that then came out on Tuesday, saying, hey, people need to resume their work searches on the 12th of July. So what we're really going to be trying to do is, from our perspective, is help as many people as we can with job searching, resume assistance, because some of the people who, have been furloughed, like Bryan was talking about, may not be able to return to their former position. And maybe they haven't been out in the job searching world for quite a while. We have seen folks who, were furloughed that have been working, in that same industry for a decade or longer. So we're here to provide resume assistance, employment workshops, mock interviews, all of those sorts of things that help get a person ready to re-enter not only the employment field, but maybe even change careers, change directions. And so that's where it comes into, utilizing some of the GAP scholarships, some potential CARES Act funding to help people transition and to change. And really, it comes down to face-to-face, people in front of people, or virtually in front of people, saying, these are the services that we provide, getting that education out there for all partners in the city, so that when someone comes through our doors, we know where we can refer them if we don't cover that service, and really educating, folks like you to say, hey, these are the things that we as EmployLink, we as, the Department of Labor provide, and the help and assistance that we can give folks to get them back on the right track.
After 4 months, sorry about that. I think we froze for a second. Are we all back? I think we are.
I think we are.
Okay, so with that, we'd be happy to take any questions. Please put your questions in the chat, and we can answer those.
Sure.
And go ahead, Travis.
Well, I was going to say, as those are coming in, one of the things that I wanted to touch on is I was able to go in and check some of our labor market information this morning to kind of get some updated figures. In Lancaster County alone, there are over 5,500 job openings that we are helping to fill. And a lot of those are going to be in the healthcare, food service, educational services, manufacturing. So it's really about trying to connect those folks to those industries, but also look at ways to retrain, to basically upskill and get people into the right fit.
Absolutely, and we'll look for questions here, but a couple other pieces of information that I think are really valuable is that our friends at Southeast Community College have what's called the GAP scholarship, GAP. And what that is that's a scholarship for short-term skilled certifications. So you think about a certified nursing assistant, CNA, a welding certificate, different office business certificates. These are short-term 6 to 8 week programs that previously Pell Grants did not cover. So when you think of Pell Grants, these are the college scholarships for low-income people in our community. However, short-term certificates like a CNA are not eligible for Pell. It has to be 2 or 4 year college programs. So the GAP scholarship is really valuable for careers that can get started with a certificate. So if you know someone in your family, in your community, who's looking to start to a new career, please have them check out Southeast Community College at SCC. That's a really powerful tool. Then those scholarships are available. SCC should also hear back soon from the governor on the status of their CARES Act application, which will provide additional dollars for SCC. So we have a few questions coming in. Say that there's a job search exemption for people expected to be called within 112 days. Travis, can you look at the first question from Anne? And also, if we don't have the answers, since this guidance changed on Tuesday, if we don't have the answers, we will find out and share. We should have the emails from everyone who registered for this, but we will also post the information on selectlincoln.org, which is the Lincoln Partnership's website. So we will share the information. So just forewarning that we might not be able to answer everything with the guidance change. Travis, could you talk to Anne's question?
Sure. So, Ann's question was: it was stated that there is a job search exemption for people who expected to be recalled within 112 days. How is that exemption activated? And do we, as an employer, have to verify that? So, a couple of different things. So, those who are considered employer attached and have an exemption of 112 days, yes. Now, a couple of different things. That exemption starts from the date that they were laid off. So it is 112 days from whenever they were originally laid off. And that is yes, completely employer driven. So we would need, it's not the employment training division, however, under me, unfortunately, it would be the unemployment insurance division. You would need to be able to provide documentation that says, yes, we do expect to call them back. Yes, this is the date. And basically provide that to the Department of Labor. As Bryan said, we can go ahead and provide some additional resources after the fact. And one of those will be the email address that you'll be able to submit that information to. And if I don't have the answer for you right away, we will find it. I will also link in chat all the drop-down page for all of our press releases that could also assist in answering some questions.
Trying to do too many things at once. So Anne and Jim, please type into the chat if that does not answer your question, since you can't verbally speak to us, because I think both your questions were pretty similar there. The next question is from Hannah Fagan, who's a friend of EmployLink from Dieter Foundry, who says that she's had an extremely low candidate pool of applications. Now that people are required to apply for unemployment, do you think these candidates are truly interested or just applying now because they have to? So I will tell you that working with people in our community for the last 8 years, the change is about 2 weeks. So people are applying for jobs 2 weeks earlier than they thought they had to. So I don't think people will be firing off tons of applications that they're not interested in, because people know they have to go back to work starting August 1st or end of July when the federal benefit ends. So my hope, cannot predict human behavior, but my hope is that people will apply for jobs that they're serious for, because people know that it does take time to get hired. Also, since we're having our drive-through career fair on July 14th, that's exactly why we did that, to have about 2.5 weeks before the federal benefit ended, which we think most people will be ready to go back to work at that point, of course, depending on how the pandemic is doing. Travis, do you have anything to add to Hannah's question?
I think you covered it pretty well, Bryan. It's, for the most part, the vast majority of people that we are seeing, they truly want to get back to work. They don't want to be on unemployment insurance assistance. They were caught off guard, obviously, by, they thought they'd have a couple of more weeks. But the vast majority of folks that are coming in and seeing us either in our office or at the American Job Center truly want to get back to work and want to find that.
Great. And Anne, I think I saw your second question, and then I saw you say thank you. So please tell me if that second question there you feel is answered, or if you need that answered. You tell us. We've got plenty of time here. So Andy Holes asks, if a business came to you and asked, what can we do? What can we ask of businesses? That's a good question. So Andy Holes is our one-stop operator, which means he operates our American Job Center. So our American Job Center is our federally funded and city-funded workforce center where anyone can walk in the door and apply for jobs, get help from a trained navigator. It's a great place. It's in the Education Square building downtown at SCC, if anyone's looking to go there or make a referral. So what I would ask of any business on this call, whether it's Vance Allison at Emeritus or Aaron Bond at Speedway or Victoria at ServiceMaster, would be, I would be ready for a significant number of applications starting next week. But if I was a betting man, a week from Monday, because it will take a little while for our 24,000 residents who are Lancaster County to receive the email, to get the information from the Department of Labor, or to hear from us at EmployLink. We have pushed every button that we have to share information across the community with our Homeless Coalition, with our New Americans Task Force, with our Reentry Alliance, with every United Way agency, through our city. We have a radio campaign going right now on AM and FM. We are everywhere talking to people about this. So I think it'll start next week, but truly the week after, because people have to apply for a certain number of jobs each week to stay eligible. But with the federal benefit ending the last week of July, people know that it is time to return to work, at least in the conversations that I'm having. So if I was asking businesses, I would say, please be ready for these applications as one. The second thing I would ask is, if you don't already, please post your jobs on AnyWorks. AnyWorks is our state website for jobs and unemployment insurance. So that way people who have an unemployment claim will see your position on AnyWorks. That's neworks.nebraska.gov. I can put that in the chat. And then the third one would be, really take a look at job descriptions. You have a lot of people in accommodations, hotels, and restaurants who will be looking at your industry. So I had a conversation with a construction company yesterday, and what they're looking at is changing some of their laborer positions, which perhaps could skew male in terms of perception, to a cleaning job title, because that's truly what this position is. It's cleaning the final constructed building before the tenant moves in. So laborer might scare away somebody who was previously doing hotel cleaning, but a final cleaning title would be something that would be inviting. So if there's ways to think about the workforce that is available to your current job descriptions, that would be the third thing. So it would be ready starting next week, post your jobs on AnyWorks, and really think about your job descriptions and think about the accommodation restaurant industry that's seeing the largest number of layoffs. Anything to add on that one, Travis?
No, I think you covered it pretty thoroughly. But I did see Kevin's next question in line.
Yeah,
if you
please.
want to handle that. Sure. So Kevin asked, do we have any knowledge on how timely federal assistance checks are coming in? In other words, when the federal assistance ends at the end of the month, will those checks still be coming in for weeks to come due to delays, or are those checks coming in pretty timely? So we actually don't issue checks anymore. They are all either electronic payments or put on debit cards. So when a claimant files their weekly certification for unemployment insurance benefits, that the only process time is about the two to three business days it takes for the bank to process a payment. So the claimants will have those payments run out. The federal assistance, the $600 a week, runs out effective July 25th. That is the last day. So a claimant will have until midnight on Friday night, July 31st, to be able to claim that last bit of payment, okay? So we would assume, we can calculate out that basically probably by Wednesday of that next week, so that would be right around the 5th of August, all of that money would have been dispersed, unless there is, an unforeseen hold on their claim or another issue that we can't account for. So those payments are going to be timely, as timely as they can be, and they will, run their course around that time, within a week or two.
Excellent. Next question is from Elizabeth Armstrong. She says that she works with those receiving TANF benefits. For those not familiar, TANF stands for Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, better known as welfare payments. May have their benefits closed due to receiving unemployment. They will still come. What's the best way to direct them to Department of Labor and the American Job Center, with the focus being on virtual services? Travis, maybe could you take this one first and I can follow up?
Sure. So the best way that we can direct them for any unemployment related questions is our 855 number, and I'll go ahead and put that down there in the chat. That is the best way. And if we have claimants that are calling prior to 2 p.m. on any given day, they can enter into a callback if they'd like. And then after 2 p.m., they just would wait in the queue like normal. So I'll go ahead and put that down below. That is the best way to have them get their questions answered. Of course, then in the city here in Lincoln, we do have a an unemployment insurance specialist that comes in the afternoons from 1 to 5 at the American Job Center. But we would still recommend that everybody, due to social distancing and due to the increase in traffic that we expect to see over the next couple of weeks, due to these changes coming a little bit early, that they just go ahead and utilize that 855 number. And like I said, I'll go ahead and put that down below here momentarily.
Excellent. And I don't think I have anything to add to that one. The only thing that I think I would say is that the American Job Center never went fully virtual. So the American Job Center, which is at 1111 O Street, SEC building downtown, is open. It's socially distant. So if you have people who are looking for employment assistance, that's a place where people can still go in person to utilize the computer lab. So just wanted to be really clear. Sometimes it's hard to tell when places are open actually or virtually. So the American Job Center downtown is open for people to utilize their services. So Darcy Isherwood from Agility Fuel Solutions asks if there is anything we can do as employers to help people prepare to return to work besides the career fair. Many of us would be interested in helping so we can fill our open positions. I think for right now, through the end of the month, it is really posting on Any Works if you don't already. It's also really kind of thinking about how do you reach people. So is that social media, posting through jobs there, also through EmployLink. If you share your open positions with us at EmployLink, and you can reach Travis or myself, and we'll put our emails in there if you don't have them, you can share that information with us. So the first thing I would say is sharing information either through Any Works or EmployLink to make sure that we get it out to all of our case managers and helpers out there, because there are going to be a whole lot of clients who are going to be calling all of our agencies. Lincoln has over 500 nonprofits that operate. We have almost all of them on our listserv. I will take the Pepsi challenge on that. If a nonprofit's serving people in Lincoln, Nebraska, and they're not on EmployLink, there's something going on. So we will make sure that we share that. The second one is I really think it's looking at job descriptions and job titles. I've had conversations with people from the food production industry, construction, home health care, all thinking about how can we kind of retool the language that's in our job description to capture people who can do the work, but the job description might not be familiar because they're new to our industry. So I think that's something else to think about. I realize that's easy for me to armchair quarterback from the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce to ask businesses to retool their job descriptions and job titles. So please know I know that, but that's just conversations that we've been having. Darcy, it's a great question, and I'm sure you and I will be talking about it for the next year or so to figure out how we can do this. Jerome Montgomery asks, is it too late to make flyers for the drive-through fair? I think my team at EmployLink is going to be really mad at me if I say this. Travis is already laughing. If you get flyers to us today, to the Nebraska Developers, Travis is mad at me. It's 1,500 flyers, folks. It's a lot to stuff these bags. But Jerome, we've worked together before. I believe he's from Stevens and Smith Concrete. If you get us 1,500 flyers like today to 1111 O Street, third floor, don't tell Erica, she's on this call, I think, that we're going to do this. But if you get us those flyers today, we will do our absolute best to get them in there. I assure you, 1,500 flyers times 52 employers into bags, it's time consuming. So Darcy, if you really want to help, come help us stuff bags tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Okay, let's see if we have some other questions. Jerome, you're getting me in trouble, man. Chad asked the same question, also true for you, for MAPES. So I think we've gotten through our questions. People can put those in the chat. Overall, what I hope you heard from us, and I won't talk your ear off to fill up the time. We'll be ending a little bit early today, which is what we had planned. But what I hope you heard from us today is that we've had 3 years of unemployment claims, 3 years worth of people, about 24,000 people in the last about 3.5 months. So we have people who have worked their whole lives, who have never needed our systems before, looking for work. Currently, they're receiving their state unemployment benefit, which is 50% of wages, capped at $400 a week, and the federal unemployment assistance, which is $600 a week. So right now, people may be feeling pretty comfortable. However, the federal benefit ends at the end of the month. And as we talked about earlier, the governor announced that job search requirements start this Sunday, this week of this Sunday, July 12th. So people will start applying for jobs this week. I believe it'll really ramp up starting a week from Monday. Please be advised and be aware that people are going to be applying for jobs and coming in, and that many of these folks will not have experience necessarily in the industries that you represent, but are really ready, willing, and able to work. These are folks who've worked consistently. Most of these folks have never utilized our services before. So in terms of what can you do, please post your jobs on AnyWorks. Please share with us here at EmployLink, which Travis put in our emails, which is great. And then the third one is just having those conversations with businesses and hearing about reframing job descriptions and job titles to perhaps fit the folks who have been most affected by layoffs. So that's what I hope you had as takeaways. Andy put into the chat here that if businesses want to host virtual job fairs, we will be rolling those out starting late July into August. If you would like to participate in that, what that is, just real briefly, is that's kind of a career fair on Zoom where we create breakout rooms on Zoom, if you've experienced those before, where people can log into the virtual career fair and then choose which industry or which job. Let's say Nelnet. I saw Jess Schumacher is on here. Nelnet would be a virtual job fair participant. People would choose the Nelnet breakout room, and then they can hear from Jess or somebody on her team to hear about Nelnet. So that's another tool that we'll be rolling out later this month. If that's something that you're interested in participating in, you'll hear from us via EmployLink and the Chamber, but you can also reach out to Travis, who put in his email here. With that, are there any final questions or thoughts? I think I've covered everything on my checklist. I'll wait for a question to come in just for a second, but Travis, anything else that you'd like to share?
No, I think we've covered it pretty well. I think, the main takeaway for us at the Department of Labor is use us. We're here, we're a resource. We want to help get people back to work. We want to help find the right fit for you as employers, really offer as much assistance as we can. We want to see people in Lincoln get back to work. And there's so many good resources out there, so many good partnerships that we can leverage and utilize. And we really are counting on you guys to be able to post those jobs. Let us know about your openings, whether that's directly through the AJC, NDOL, or EmployLink. Let us know what your needs are as an employer, and so we can go out there and assist you as best we can, because we want to see as many folks as possible get back to work. As Bryan touched on, a vast majority of the people that are on unemployment insurance right now, it's their first time. They've never been on it. They're interested in getting back to work. They are open to shifting careers, shifting gears, and want to utilize the soft skills that they already have, maybe in a different way.
Excellent. So I saw that Dr. Kasselbaum asked if do you know any places that are international hiring friendly. I don't off the top of my head, but I will look into that. Karen, I will follow up with you individually if that's okay. Melanie, I see you. We'll get your name down for the virtual career fair. Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we've covered the information for this morning. We will share this information with you if we have your email from registration. We will also post this information on selectlincoln.org, which is the partnerships website. I also put my email in there, so feel free to reach out to us. We truly appreciate your partnership. I see people on this call from the city of Lincoln, from business, from the public sector. That encourages me that we are able to work together to help people reconnect to careers and keep people financially stable. So thank you very much. On behalf of Travis Beck from the Nebraska Department of Labor, we wish you a wonderful Thursday morning, and good luck in all of your work. Thank you again for joining us this morning.
Thank you.